Hello and welcome back. Just wanted to remind you before we started that this is the second half to a full clip. So if you haven't seen the first half in my previous video, the one directly before this one, I would recommend that you go watch it because it will be relevant. But with that being said, shout outs of course. You know I'm not going to leave out the Snort Hogan intro.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort,
Hogan. Drip.
snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go.
So here's a funny one. I'll read this. You ready? I'll read this one because this is hilarious, because people always accuse me of being a hypocrite, but then there's things they say about me are factually untrue, making them hypocrites. So here's an example of this.
Well, DSP, I don't mean to stop you before you even get started, but that's not what being a hypocrite means. You can say things that are factually wrong about someone without being a hypocrite. That's what most people just refer to as lying about somebody's character. It has nothing to do with hypocrisy. But of course, you can't be bothered to actually look up the definition of a word that you intend on using before you get to using it. I mean, there's no shame in not actually knowing what a word means. All the time on my streams, I flub words or I use a word and I'm not quite sure and I say it out loud. I'm like, I don't know if that's actually what that means. I'm gonna look that up, or can somebody tell me? Can someone figure out what word I was trying to say instead? There's nothing wrong with that. But you use these words not only incorrectly, but with such confidence and to demean somebody that it is really, really grating.
This is pertinent to what just happened, okay? Don't bring up trolls, detractors, haters, or other creators every stream, then say that you're above the drama.
You could have put that message in any one of the suggestion box segments and I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference. Because he has been told numerous times throughout the suggestion box as well the exact same thing. To not bring up drama, to not bring up other content creators, to play more video games, and to quit begging so much. Those are the top suggestions that he gets. So let's see if he reacts the same way or even worse to this message right now than he would during the suggestion box. Because I honestly find it hard to believe that he could act much worse.
Why did I bring up trolls, detractors, and haters today? Because I just got a tip that I don't know if I can count yet, and I wanted to explain the situation so you guys know what's going on. Did I bring them up outside of that? Unless there's something pertinent to the situation that's going on during a particular day, I don't go out of my way to reference that stuff. Why? Because I don't care.
But that doesn't make it okay, DSP. This message is specifically telling you to just not do it, period. The word detractors really should never leave your lips again if you were smart. Because bringing up your trolls and detractors is never a good look for you. You always come out looking worse for it. But it doesn't really matter whether you think that it's a relevant thing to bring up. Just because you think it's relevant doesn't excuse it. It doesn't justify the action. Let me give you an analogy, DSP, one that you might actually understand. I'm sure many of you know where this is going. Let me just, Yeah, now we're ready. Okay, so let's say that you have a sandwich shop, DSP, and a customer comes in and really annoys you, so you spit in her food. And the other customers tell you, hey, you really shouldn't be spitting in her food. Is it then justified to look at those customers and go, well, I think it's relevant to spit in her food today. She was being mean to me. In fact, that's the only time that I spit in people's food is when they're mean to me. I'm sure it's very cathartic for you, DSP, but it's just not justifying your actions the way that you think it is. In both real life and in my analogy, you're better off just moving on with your day and forgetting about this person. But you just can't let things go. You can't be the bigger person and just turn your back on them and continue doing what you claim to love to do, which is play video games for your audience. That's why this person is telling you to quit talking about trolls and detractors, because you do it all of the time. But I'll let him continue so that I can switch back into my normal style clothes.
I don't at all. I don't care about anything that happens outside of this stream. All I care about is what happens with you and me. That's it. Me and my content, and you guys, and in your interaction with me and enjoyment of it. That's it. But if I'm getting a tip that I don't know if I can trust, and I have to explain to you why, now I got to bring it up.
See, DSP, but you've completely lost me here because I don't know why you think it's relevant to bring up whether or not you can trust a tip that you've received. Do other content creators do this? Am I unaware of this? When they receive a donation of some sort, they tell their audience, yeah, guys, I don't know if I can believe this. It's a little sketchy, because I've never heard anybody else say these kinds of things. And I'll be honest with you guys, at this point, I do wind up just watching a bunch of detractor content. If I'm not working on a video, I'm either spending time with my girlfriend or I'm in somebody else's stream chat. So it's totally possible that other content creators are doing this and I just don't know. But that's why I'm genuinely asking.
But that's hypocritical. How? There was a direct cause and effect. Someone tipped with a troll message in it. I reacted because I wanted to let you know what was going on for transparency purposes. It wasn't I actively went out of my way to bring up the trolling. I wanted to let you guys know what was going on. But to them, any moment that I bring up anything of that, oh, that's hypocritical. Okay, if you say so, but you just need to open a dictionary.
God, that's just gold coming from this guy. I genuinely cannot think of anyone who is less fit to tell another human being that they need to open a dictionary than DSP. And he says that he didn't actively go out of his way to bring up the trolling, but he just went and told us about a $200 tip that he received last week on Monday. He just didn't have to do that. He could have talked about the message that he just received. He could have talked about the detractor that just gave him money instead of bringing up one from a week ago. If he wants to sit here and pretend that he only does it when it's relevant, that he doesn't go out of his way to do it. Both of those, of course, would be a lie, but we all know that DSP is not above lying to everybody, including himself, as long as it matches the warped reality that he's painted inside of his own head.
I don't think you understand the fucking word and what it means. You just believe what everyone says around you because you're gullible. Like, there's no hypocrisy there. I don't want to bring them up. I never would have brought that shit up if it wasn't for the fact that it affected me directly on my stream, right?
Sure, DSP, that works for this instance where you brought up chargebacks. But what about all of the times that the chargebacks had nothing to do with your actual live streams? Of course, you came on stream the very next day and had to tell everybody exactly what happened and how you're so destitute for money and oh my god, it would be so nice if you guys contributed something, please. Those behind the scenes chargebacks have nothing to do with your stream because they're not happening on the stream at the time. In fact, the only reason that people know that those chargebacks even occurred is because you came on stream and told everybody the behind the scenes information. And there's definitely been instances where people have trolled you and it had nothing to do with your streams at all. Like when they called around your local area pretending to be you trying to figure out how much you had your car serviced for. Yeah, that had nothing to do with your streams and never needed to be brought up on stream at all. But you still managed to do that. You still managed to make it a segment because you never let a good crisis go to waste. You're a professional victim 100% of the time.
So there you go.
Sound good? Sounds good to me. And by the way, categories.
It takes a tremendous amount of time. Nobody will take it seriously because discussing dramatic things and saying you're above it is a hypocritical stance to take. You don't have to try so hard to be holier than thou. You're right, I don't have to try so hard. You're right. But the thing is, these things attack me at all times. I'll give you some examples. This year, right? I didn't want to be involved in any kind of drama at all.
Yeah, I definitely got to hit X to doubt on this one. And I know that he's going to talk about other content creators that were trying to do interviews with him and he turned them down and he didn't want to interact with the side scrollers or Keemstar or Mudahar or Turkey Tom. But that's completely sweeping under the rug the LTG thing that we had this summer where he actively name dropped LTG trying to start beef and saying that they should have a match that would be bigger than Evo. Yeah, right. Or him very blatantly shitting on XQC for doing better React content than DSP does. Not only better React content, but React content that generates more revenue. So let's not sit here and act like just because you refused to do a couple of interviews that you didn't go out of your way to involve yourself in some sort of drama throughout this year, because you absolutely did. An astonishingly large amount of your content is you trying to farm drama by name dropping other content creators almost constantly, dude.
How many people outside of my direct content tried to pull me into drama this year? I want you to think about that. All right? And maybe if you're only here on this stream, you wouldn't even be aware, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing that you don't watch other content creators that speak about DSP, because heaven forbid you actually hear an opinion about the guy that doesn't come directly from him. A cult-approved opinion about DSP does not come from anybody but DSP, so don't even dare try and leave the reservation. But it's bewildering to me that DSP would actually have the gall to say this, because if you tune into DSP streams, you always know what other people are talking about when it comes to him, because he makes sure that you know, because he has to address it every single time. Just following DSP's content, you would be aware of the side scrollers, the Boogie drama, the Wings drama, the Keemstar drama, the Mudahar drama, and the Turkey Tom drama. So like I said, it's just kind of wild to me that he thinks that if you just hang out on his channel that you're not going to be aware of any of this. This is the sole place to be, DSP. You don't have to go anywhere else for this information. You can just watch your pre-stream and have all of the information that you need about all of the drama arcs that have happened this year.
There's so many people who think that it benefits them to drag me into their shit. You know, it takes a tremendous amount of effort, a tremendous amount of self-control and discipline to not bring that stuff up.
Yeah, DSP is clearly the king of self-control and discipline. If you need a shining example of that, go check out his WWE Champions account. Fantastic self-control over there.
Right? And I ignore it on purpose because, number one, I know it doesn't benefit anyone here for me to address that nonsense. There's so much toxic stuff out there on the internet about me. Why do I need to address any of it? I just ignore it. It's just nonsense to me. I mean, come to my stream, enjoy what's happening on the stream. That's all that anyone should ever care about, right?
But that's exactly why taking the feedback from this message is so important for you, DSP. Because the second that you actively stop bringing up the detractors and the trolls is the second that you can say this and not be a liar and not be a hypocrite. Because watching your streams and only caring about that is exactly what these people are doing. They're getting all of this drama through your streams. It's relevant to them because you keep bringing it up. And you keep bringing it up because you think it's relevant for some reason. You can take this very segment as a good example of what you shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't be talking about chargebacks, because then it becomes relevant to your audience, and your audience then wants to bring up chargebacks every once in a while. And then you get into this never-ending cycle of you bringing up chargebacks because they're talking about it, and they're talking about it a week later because you were talking about it last week. Where if you just shut your mouth and didn't bring up things that weren't actually relevant to the streams at all, no one would be talking about these things.
This is my stream business to you. This is my public face. This is what matters. Nothing else. But that's the problem, is most people who have issue with me don't have real issue with this. They have issue with other shit that's bullshit that they made up, or, you know, they want to bring up to try to pull other things to be dramatic, right? Things, oh my God, this thing is happening. That thing happened behind the scenes years ago. This happened there. Who cares?
Let's pretend for a second that DSP doesn't act like an absolute scumbag on stream every single day. Just pretend with me for a second. Does that mean that all of the scumbag things that he does behind the scenes in his personal life just aren't relevant anymore? That nobody should be bringing those up? That those don't matter to anybody? Because I don't think that that's been the case for any public figure. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are on screen, or how good of a person you are in your business dealings, and how much people like you in public, because that's your public face. If you're stealing from handicapped kids and punching old women, like, the internet is going to hate you. They're going to call you out. And that's what's happening to you, DSP. Again, pretending that DSP doesn't act like a scumbag every single day on stream, which is absolutely the case. And I know that DSP isn't actually punching old people, but it is common knowledge through the grapevine that some of the dents that pay him are mentally deficient children.
Are you enjoying today's stream? Are you having a good time with me? That's what should matter. Not all this nonsense that people dug up out of the dirt that has nothing to do with anything and isn't anything publicly presented to you as a product to consume. That's not what it was. But that's how these people are, right?
So because DSP didn't allegedly commit bank fraud as a product for you to consume, it's none of your business and you shouldn't know about it. Never mind the fact that the man makes 6 figures a year and claimed that he spends $5,000 a month on business expenses. Because he didn't publicly release Jasper's blood work or lack thereof as a product for you to consume, you shouldn't be worried about it. Hashtag justice for Jasper.
So that's the point, is I don't go actively out of my way to bring up drama or any of this stuff. It's others who try to pull me into their vortex of bullshit, right? And so every once in a while, sadly, I do have to bring stuff up, because then sometimes people, oh, I heard this, there's this, what's this confusion, what's this? And then sometimes I have to clarify, right?
But I thought that you said you went out of your way to not address what the detractors were saying, or not bring up anybody that was trying to bring you into drama. You said that it took a tremendous amount of self-discipline and self-control. Don't you remember that? We just went over this. But now all of a sudden we're saying, well, every once in a while I gotta address it, dude. Come on. People are saying negative stuff about me. So pretty much the whole first half of this was for naught, because DSP immediately went back on it, because obviously he did. He's DSP.
And that sucks. I don't like having to derail my positive content to address a bunch of toxic idiots on the internet, but I have to sometimes, and it is what it is. But why do you think a lot of those people have so much issue with me? It's because I won't play their game, right?
No, I think that most people that have a problem with you because they think that you're a scammer, a con artist, a charlatan. They think that you're actively taking money from people who don't know any better and need to be told who you really are. Because I can imagine all of the things that DSP has said so far in this segment coming out of the mouth of an actual snake oil salesman from back in the day. Yes, because everybody who has a problem with my wonderful miracle tonic is just upset because I'm ruining their business and the doctors are going to be broke because I've found the cure for everything. And sadly, even though none of it is true, I have to address it every once in a while because people are saying all of these awful things about me. But yeah, sure, DSP, it's because you're so different. It's because you don't play the game like everybody else and they're just so upset. That's obviously it. Sounds good to me.
And you say you don't have to act holier than thou. You know, you're right, I don't have to, because I don't have to act when it's true. All right?
Oh yeah, you heard him right. He just said that he is actually holier than thou. He has moral superiority over everybody else. But just in case you didn't hear him the first time, we're gonna run it back one more time.
And you say you don't have to act holier than thou. You know, you're right, I don't have to, because I don't have to act when it's true. All right?
Look, I'm not going to sit here and run you through a list of everybody that DSP has wronged or lied about or just genuinely mistreated throughout his life, because honestly, that list would be too long. But I'm sure that most of you, especially if you're watching my content, are well aware of who DSP is and how ironic this really is coming from him. The guy who has never been proven to do any charity whatsoever. The guy who didn't even bother to pay his own best friends while doing a project with them for his business. The guy who allegedly committed bankruptcy fraud, like I said, allegedly. But here I am going through the list that I said that I wouldn't go through. I apologize. I just get so lost in the things that the guy has done.
But the fact that I tell you I will not involve myself in their drama, I will not degrade myself to that level of toxicity and negativity. I'm here to just put out positive content. That's a fact. That is not me pushing an agenda or a persona. That is a fact.
But it's not a fact, DSP, because that's not the content that you consistently push out. It could only be a fact if you genuinely only made positive content and you just did your gameplay and people enjoyed it and had fun. But it's segments like these that make you a liar, because this is exactly what you say that you don't do, is segments like these. I don't know how you don't see that you're doing the exact thing right now that you claim that you don't do. You're sitting here claiming that you only do positive content and you don't do any drama content while actively doing a drama segment, while actively berating a chatter in your chat. It's like saying that you're working really hard while you're actually just sitting on your ass doing nothing. But now that I said that out loud, that's actually exactly what DSP does. It's all making more sense now. Wow.
I will not degrade myself to the level of the other scum on the internet who want me to be just like them. That is not me saying I'm holier than thou. Me stating a fact is not me pushing an agenda.
But you did quite literally just say that you don't have to act holier than thou because you are. I played it back twice. That is exactly what you said. You can't backtrack now, dog. It's too late. But stating a fact absolutely can be pushed as propaganda, can be pushed to an agenda. In fact, it's probably even easier to push your agenda if you have some sort of facts on your side. But that's not what you have right here, DSP. You're straight lying to people's faces.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to tell. Oh, well, don't do it. So you want me to lie? You want me to lie? You want me to outright lie then? No, I'm not going to lie. I will not play their game. I refuse. As much as they absolutely, positively want me to. We just had Turkey Tom make a 2-hour documentary on me, which is just him regurgitating facts that my detractors say, right?
Ooh, and I knew this day would come. Lord, I knew this day would come. So there's two options here. Either he finally watched the documentary after he had all of that beef with Turkey Tom, which wouldn't make any sense because I thought he didn't care and he didn't want to watch it. Or he's completely flipping the script from what he previously was saying about Turkey Tom's documentary, saying that it's actually fairly objective and that there are some positive points in there about him. Of course, without having seen it. So let me know in the comments what you actually think the case is here. Do you think that he finally saw it and he actually walked away with a negative perception of it? Or do you think that he didn't even bother watching it like he said he didn't, and that he's just completely retconning everything he said about it because him and Turkey Tom had a bad interaction?
And after that, he tried so badly to get me to do an interview, to make a comment, and literally he admitted publicly, and this was his big mistake, he admitted publicly why. Was he interested in my answers? Was he interested in having a real conversation? No, he wanted to milk me. He actually said this outright, and then after the fact, he tried to take it back, which doesn't work. Once you've said something publicly on the internet, you've exposed yourself.
Yeah, DSP, I'm sure that you know all about going online and exposing yourself, but that's besides the point. He says that Turkey Tom tried so hard to get an interview or to get a reaction out of him, when Turkey Tom was just doing his normal content and emailing DSP trying to get a casual interview. He wasn't on his hands and knees begging DSP for an interview, and of course, DSP couldn't talk about Turkey Tom again without bringing up milking a human being. It's just so obnoxious that he gets stuck on words like this. DSP, it's common nomenclature in the industry in which you work. Milking content in situations is a totally normal thing for content creators to do on the internet. And if the subject of the video is a person that you can milk content out of, then you are in a way milking that person for content. To quote Sir Moist here, it's not that deep, but it's not everybody else's fault that you don't know the vocab words for the very industry that you're in.
He wants to milk people for personal gain. That's disgusting. So if you think I'm acting holier than thou because I don't want to play a toxic game of milking people on the internet, then I guess I'm holier than thou, but that's okay. I'd rather be in that position than be someone who literally wants to use others to make money, regardless of the fact that the things you say about them hurt them.
So he said it twice now that he's holier than thou. I know he tried to cancel out the first one by saying that that's not what he's saying, but he went on to say it a second time, so it like cancels the cancel, you know? Trust me, the math works out this way, I promise. So DSP is back to being better than you, morally superior to you and everybody that you know, and that's just what you have to deal with. Sorry to tell you.
All right, I'm not going to play that game ever. All right? So, yeah, that's the situation I'm in. And again, why? Did I care about any of that shit? No. People start coming to my streams. Did you see the documentary? Did you do this? Did you do that? No, leave me alone.
And that's the real answer that you should have continued to give. No, I'm not interested in talking about that. Can we please stop talking about that? If we don't stop talking about that, I'm going to have you removed from the chat, and I really wouldn't like to do that. I'm not interested in talking about these things. I apologize. Can we move on? But of course DSP couldn't do that. Of course he had to entertain what the people were saying. Obviously, it's DSP. The day that he has that fabled self-control and self-discipline that he was talking about earlier is the day that all of his content gets significantly more boring. But we don't have to worry about DSP actually improving his discipline or self-control because he's not interested.
I just want to sit here and play games and chill with you guys every day. I want nothing to do with that shit. I want to be left out of it completely. But then you gotta pull me in.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Do podcasts about me, talk about me here, tweet about me here, this and that, and I ignore all of it, right? And the funny part about it is, then you get a content or a thing like that, right? You totally get something like that, and they're like, "Oh, well, you see, you're hypocritical. You act holier than thou. Just stop doing it." I'm not doing it actively. They're creating that situation. Them, not me. If you don't like that, tell them to fucking stop.
So DSP is just outright admitting at this point that he can't mind his own business. If people are going to keep talking about him, they're going to keep bringing him up. He's going to keep responding. That's his entire problem. That's what he's been denying this whole time. This entire segment was all about this one thing, and now he's just outright admitting, as long as people keep bringing me up and talking about me, I'm going to keep doing these segments. That's all you had to say, DSP. Why did you just sit here and lie to us for this amount of time? Because if you want DSP to quit bringing it up, you have to go tell the detractors to stop. Like that'll ever happen.
Tell these idiots to stop bringing up Dark Side Phil because he doesn't care about you. You're wasting your time, you're spinning your wheels, and you're making him look better every time you bring him up because he doesn't play your game. If you have an issue with me looking better, then tell them to stop.
When has DSP ever come out looking better when people mention him in a negative light? I mean, genuinely, I can't think of a single time. I guess you could say that pro Jared tweet that he got to make 3 years after the fact, but even then it still looks kind of sad that DSP held onto that grudge for 3 years even though pro Jared didn't say anything about him that entire time. So yeah, sick burn I guess, but how petty are you?
I'm not creating the situation, they are. And they're too dumb to realize that it's not working, okay? Their little flash in the pan money or whatever they make, it doesn't work long term, and I still persevered. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. It's never going to happen, the nonsense that they're thinking, okay? So you're talking to the wrong person.
But didn't DSP tell us in part 1 that all of his detractors and haters are his biggest fans and that they must actually want him to succeed so that they can continue to make content off of him? But now he's acting as though him still being here and persevering is some sort of win against them. I thought that that's exactly what they wanted, DSP. That's what you told me in the last part. What the hell? And he talks about, oh, it's their flash in the pan success that's not going to last. As though he's some sort of arbiter for what is and isn't smart business decisions. DSP, we all see how you run your business on a day-to-day basis, and trust me, nobody is impressed.
Go talk to them. Tell them to stop bringing this up because it's all toxic bullshit. I'm never going to be like that, okay? Sadly, I almost feel like when I read a comment like that, like that's what they're saying. Why can't you just be like everyone else?
There's nothing inherently wrong with being like other people though, DSP. If those people are people that you should be emulating, people who do get positive feedback from people that they interact with, people who have a positive reception on the internet as streamers, yeah, you should probably try and mimic at least something from those people. They're clearly doing something right, correct? But DSP is always the contrarian. Just because people like one thing, DSP is gonna say it sucks and he hates it. Just because people behave one way, DSP is gonna behave like a complete asshole the opposite way just to get a reaction out of everybody and say that he's different. And I'll be honest with you, right now, I forgot the exact comment that he's responding to because I believe we're like 2 or 3 comments into this segment. But I don't remember anyone actively saying that he should be like anybody else. They're calling him hypocritical because he says that he's better than drama content creators while always doing these drama segments and that he should stop doing them. That's the entire point of this segment, and all of a sudden we're talking about be like everybody else. Did I lose the plot somewhere, or is he just regarded?
Why don't you just do the drama content? Why don't you slam everyone else who slams you? Why don't you milk them back the way that they want to milk you? Because I don't want to be a gross person.
I'm sure that you don't want to be a gross person, DSP. It just comes naturally to you, and that's one of the things that makes you so unique.
I have morals and values inside of me that were instilled upon me as I was growing up, right? Some of them were religious, and some of them were just morals that I learned along the way. At the end of the day, when I'm done streaming and I turn off my stream and I upload my content, I can say, wow, so today I played a game and literally no one got hurt, right? No one got crazily insulted to the point now where their reputation has been tarnished and they look like shit, right?
You like that he had to add a qualifying statement onto that, though, because he almost said that nobody got insulted, which just isn't true, obviously. The dude insults everybody all of the time. He can't go 15 minutes without complaining and insulting somebody. So he had to add the qualifying statement that nobody got insulted to the point where their reputation is tarnished. Obviously, dude, come on. As if your online reputation actually means anything in the real world. I swear, this guy takes the internet too seriously sometimes.
No one got concretely injured. All I did was play a game, and I did commentary. I had great interactions with my community. And what's funny is people even say dumb shit like, well, what about when you yell at people and insult them for their Street Fighter skill? Nobody cares.
So DSP wants to get up on his high horse and act like he's better than everybody else, and all of his morals are just so much higher than everybody else's. But the second that somebody calls him out and is like, hey, how about all of those people that you insulted and called trash online for little to no reason whatsoever? Oftentimes just because you're bad even. And his only response is, nobody cares, dude. Classic DSP right there.
It doesn't mean anything. People always, when they play fighting games, yell at each other and insult each other's skill. It doesn't mean anything. It's worthless. It's just venting frustrations. It's not super serious. Playing a video game is not super serious. You want to know what's super serious? Doing a documentary about someone for hours, delving into drama for 2 hours that's not true, but presenting it as a possibility of being true because you gain from it and make thousands of dollars on it. That's harmful.
But where is the line, DSP? And why are you the person that gets to draw it? So it's okay to say all sorts of insulting things to somebody online in a video game and call them trash and say all of these hurtful things to them, right? But the second that you make a documentary on the internet of all things and put it out to the public with the information that you've gathered, all of a sudden that's hurtful. If you ask me, it's 2 cases of people talking online. And at the end of the day, the internet doesn't matter.
Not me playing a video game and saying, wow, that person really sucked with Minot. Nobody cares about that. It doesn't affect anyone in any negative way. All right? There's a big difference. If you don't see the difference, you're a fucking moron, and that's the problem. There's too many fucking morons on this planet. They don't get it.
Anytime that anybody says there's too many of this type of person on the planet, my first question is, what are you gonna do about it? So DSP, there's too many stupid people on the planet. What are you gonna do about it? You got some sort of solution? Some sort of final style solution, if you will? Is there 6 million detractors that you're aware of that you're not telling us about right now? Like I said, that's just the first place that my brain goes when somebody says, oh, there's too many of this type of person on the planet. Because that's not really something that you should be saying. That's never a good look.
They don't understand the difference. So leave me out of all that bullshit forever. And if anyone brings me up ever, it just shows the content of their character.
Oh yeah, DSP, that's a good defense right there. I like that. So obviously, if anybody brings up DSP from here on out, it's just because they have bad character, and it has nothing to do with his poor character qualities or all of the terrible things that he's done in the past. It's just because they're meanie bobinis and want to bully the 41-year-old e-beggar online.
Because I have made it known I want nothing to do with the drama of this community on the internet, that all they do is shit on each other for personal gain. That's not me. I want nothing to do with any of you. Leave me alone, and if you bring me up, you're a loser.
Okay, I was gonna put in a clip of Loser by Beck in here, but I realized that YouTube would absolutely fillet my shit if I did that. So just pretend I did that, and it was really funny. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You have no content, nothing positive to offer this planet. The planet would be better without you on it. And I will stand towards that statement.
And this is exactly why I made the comparison earlier, because DSP not only says there's too many of this type of person on the planet, but that the planet would be better without you on it. If that doesn't give you Dolph Pigler vibes, I don't know what's going to. And this isn't the first time that he's said this either. But keep in mind that this is the same guy who's acting as though his morals are so much higher than everybody else's because he isn't willing to make entertaining content online.
Yes, Earth, the planet, would be better without people who spend all day insulting others for personal gain. I'm sorry, it's just true. If people were focused on their own positivity in their own lives and bettering themselves and their communities rather than hurting others for personal gain, Earth would be a better place overall.
I don't know, man. The Snortex has been a very positive experience for me. I've met plenty of cool and talented people through the Snortex. It's created an outlet for me to do something in my free time that is at least semi-productive and produce something that people seem to be enjoying, which I greatly appreciate. Thank you guys so much. And I hope that videos like mine and other detractors allow you guys to have some sort of enjoyment after your very stressful days working those real jobs that you work, unlike DSP. So I just can't agree with DSP. Sometimes very positive things can come out of something that might seem negative on the surface. And I know that he's still talking about Turkey Tom here and referring more to those drama style content creators on the internet. But of course this extends to detractors too, because we are this negative community that is insisting on insulting the guy all day, even though I try and be as fair to him as possible. Really, I do. I know it might not seem like it, but I really try.
YouTube, Twitch, every community would be better off for it. But sadly, idiots love that content, eat it up, and it becomes big bucks, right? And that's the problem. It's all about personal gain and money. It's any means necessary. That's how it is today. It's called any means necessary. No repercussions, no moral feelings of any kind of remorse or anything for what people do. Just hurt everyone around us for personal gain. Well, leave me out of it.
Well, I would leave you out of it if it didn't sound like you were describing exactly how you feel about your current situation. Get money by any means necessary and not caring about who you hurt in the process. That's like the DSP MO. It doesn't matter whether relationships be business style or personal style. DSP doesn't care about them and is willing to ruin those relationships so that he can get a quick buck. Thanks for the money, dummy. Combo.
That's not holier than thou. That's me telling you, leave me the fuck alone. Because you're a bunch of losers who won't shut the fuck up and beating the dead horse with your same bullshit. Because that's the other funny part. It's always the same shit. They never come up with anything new. It's been the same stuff for like 6 years now. They got nothing else to say. They've regurgitated the same toxic shit so many times now. It's like someone vomited, ate the vomit, re-vomited it, shat it out, ate the shit, and re-vomited it again.
And this point doesn't even make any sense to me, because the detractors track DSP daily. They watch his stuff at least weekly, and they do their recaps, and they do daily episodes or whatever, kind of like I do. Well, I do bring up a lot of things that happened in the past, because there is just so much to talk about, and it is always relevant. So much of it is because of the things that he's actively doing even to this day. So I don't feel like any of this is a regurgitation. We might retread some topics here and there, obviously, because the guy is kind of like a broken record. But it's always relevant to what's going on today. If he feels like we're regurgitating content and bringing up the same things over and over again, it's because he continues to do the same things over and over again, and we have to talk about it.
There's no value to any of it, but you still got millions of idiots who watch it. They're morons. Okay? I don't want to deal with those idiots. I'll leave them alone. Leave me out of it. Okay. Let's see here. So, shout out to Big Mac, who re-upped his membership for 8 months. Says, you're the man, Phil. Thank you for your hard work. You're welcome. Happy holidays to you, Big Mac.
Yo, I guess shout out the Big Mac. Not the Dent that just donated a DSP, but the actual Big Mac. I'm a big fan. As a former McDonald's employee myself, I think the Big Mac absolutely slaps.
DCJ did a super chat and says, Rich does this every day, but thanks to him, I'm here. You know, every once in a while, there's a little bit of a positive spin on it. You know, every once in a while, somebody will talk about me in a negative way, and you'll get, out of every million people who hate me, 2 people will check out the content and be like, oh shit, actually, it's nothing like what they just said. It's actually good, and I like it.
It should be telling that when other people talk about and cover your content, that out of 1 million people who watch it, 999,998 of them are convinced of what that person is talking about, and only 2 of those people are gonna have a dissenting opinion and actually enjoy the guy. Because it's not like people who talk about DSP or cover his antics aren't showing the proof of what DSP is actually like. They're showing the footage, they're rolling the clips, just like this. And I mean just like this.
And I'm very grateful to those of you who have that level of intelligence to say, I'm not just going to believe what someone says. I'm actually going to investigate it for myself and see what happens. And sometimes when you investigate for yourself, you'll actually find out that's not the whole thing. That's something that I've learned to do over the years. It's not just to believe everything I'm told or go with the flow or listen to the crowd mentality or the hype mentality. It's to actually investigate for myself and make a judgment for myself.
Yeah, DSP doesn't ever follow the crowd or believe what other people say. He very intentionally decides to do the exact opposite. He is always the contrarian. I know I already said this, but really, he always has to go against anything that everybody says.
And there have been lots of people over the years who've said that and said, hey, if I investigate and I watch Phil's content, I like it. I actually find it entertaining. He's not doing the things that people constantly say he does. They're actually full of shit. Does he every once in a while promote himself to try to make some money? Yes, because it's his business. But he's not constantly bringing it up.
I don't know, man. We've done some videos where we tracked how often you're begging, and it is all the time, dude.
Like these idiots say say he does. He literally does not constantly bring up drama like they claim he does. It's the opposite.
And again, after having done some of these videos, DSP, you absolutely do bring up so much drama all of the time. It's kind of insane. And if anybody has any doubts about that, please go into my backlog. Any video that has a thumbnail with other content creators in it, you better believe that DSP is taking shots at those people.
What you can tell is once you watch his real content and you compare it with what they say, you can see they're the ones who are desperate, not him. They're the ones who are desperate for content, so they have to try to make shit up for the drama views.
I have to wonder what his excuse is then when he finds out that people are sometimes watching raw restreams, because those are unedited, undoctored streams that is actually just his footage. If people are watching raw DSP footage and still coming away with the same conclusions, it has nothing to do with the people that they're watching and everything to do with the very content that DSP produces himself.
Wow, if you just come here, this is a chill place. This is a nice chill place where we hang out every day, we enjoy games, we have a good time together. We don't care about that shit, that toxic shit. We stay out of it. And I like this being a place where we stay out of it, you know? So, thank you to those who understand. And someone like DCJ who actually came by and figured that out and hung out, thank you for that. There's not that many smart people left. I hate to say it. There's just not. There's not people that are that smart. Everyone just wants to roll with the crowd mentality and what they're told. Well, I heard for the past 7 years that Darkside Phil is this and this and this, so that must be true. But did you take 2 seconds to watch a stream? What do you mean?
Oh, DSP, I've taken way more than 2 seconds to watch your stream, buddy. My opinion is not changing. You cannot convince me to change it. Also, how ignorant do you have to be to think that everybody who has a negative opinion of you just doesn't know anything about you? And that none of these people ever actually looked into you unedited and looked into your real content? I mean, I know that's how DSP comes to conclusions about people, kind of like he did with Keemstar, where he watched all of those documentaries on YouTube that totally weren't made by Keem detractors and took them as fact, even though you're not supposed to do that to him, and that's the very thing that he's complaining about right now.
Okay, stupid. Bye. See you later.
And I'll just give you a heads up here. There was some talk about the side scrollers, but honestly, it was nothing interesting and I don't care to talk about it. I know that's kind of a rarity for me, as I usually listen to DSP just drivel on for an extended period of time, but he really was just repeating himself, saying all of the normal things that he says about the side scrollers. And personally, I'm done with it. But there is this gem right on the back end that I wanted to hear.
Eternal Napalm says, sane people don't do that kind of shit. These people are living miserable lives, so they resort to this in order to find meaning and purpose. Well, see, there's 2 groups. There's 2 groups. Group number 1 is the people who create the drama on the internet to make money. Group number 2 are the people who are too stupid to realize that it's fabricated drama and they buy into it. And then they give those people money. I would argue they're both bad, right? Like the one group, the people who are literally, people used to say, I'm a cult leader, right? How dumb that is. They're the ones. They create a cult of hate. They create these hate groups and drama groups around someone to just continuously crap on them and dump on them, because everything they do, here comes the money. So that's the most toxic part of the internet. And then you got the dumb people who follow them and believe their bullshit. So it's just equally bad, in my opinion.
Yes, DSP is calling detractor communities a cult. It's totally not him, you guys. Never mind all of the cult speak that he constantly uses, pinning his dents against everybody else in the world to support him. Never mind that he's constantly viewing everybody as an outsider, paranoid to all hell, and viewing all other content creators as actual opponents. And we talked about this in part 1, but DSP acts as though his detractors just ride a money wave all the way to the bank, and they just are making out like bandits with all of this cash flow. When the reality just seems to be that this is a group of people who find DSP deeply interesting for all of the reasons that he hates. And they've just decided to channel that interest into something productive, something that they can share with other people, something that they can share with other like-minded people even. And because those like-minded people like the content so much, DSP, you see where this is going, they decide to support. It's like they're following your business model or something, dude. You should have got it copyrighted or trademarked or patented or whatever you would have to do for that. I don't know. I'm not a law style guy. I'm a full-time bookkeeper and a part-time sandwich shop owner. Give me a break. But that's gonna do it for today's video. Again, shout out Snort Hogan for the clip in this one. I really appreciate it, brother. Thank you, thank you. As always, a big shout out to everybody who watched the video, especially if you made it this far. I really appreciate that. A special big ups to all of my members. I hope you guys enjoy getting the videos just a slight bit earlier. But as always, I hope to catch all of you guys in the next video. But until then, make sure that you check out other detractor content and dive deeper into that Snort text.